Hello everyone, and welcome to Lost in the Episode. Today we're going to be going over the second season of one of my favorite television shows from last year, Love, Victor. Does this season live up to the heights of the first? Let's talk about it. All 10 episodes of the second season of Love, Victor will be streaming on Hulu Friday, June 11th. And make sure to come back to Lost in the Reel on that day for a spoiler discussion and review. Also, this review will have some mild spoilers from the first season, so if you haven't seen it yet, make sure to check that out before you watch this. The show is created by Isaac Aptaker and Elizabeth Berger, based upon the novel Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. This season stars Michael Cimino, Rachel Hilson, Anthony Turpel, Bebe Wood, Mason Gooding, George Sear, Isabella Ferreira, Anthony Keyvan, Anna Ortiz, and James Martinez. As I said prior, the first season of Love, Victor was easily one of my favorite television shows from last year. The series was able to not only find a fresh new Latinx perspective on the coming out tale, but it succeeded as much as it did because it created a cast of endearingly flawed and all too human characters to surround our protagonist's struggle. And although it felt very much like a freeform television show, which is once again not necessarily a bad thing, but one aspect of Love, Victor you should keep in mind, it was able to feel just as thematic, timely, and important as the film it was based on. Though I do think this second season has a hard time reaching the heights of the first, because Victor's main struggle of coming out to his family and to himself is already behind him, this was still an incredibly fulfilling and lovable batch of new episodes. We pick up literally right where we left off, with Victor coming out to his parents just as they were coming clean that they are separating. We fast forward to the end of summer as Mia has gone off to work at a summer camp to deal with her heartbreak. Felix and Lake are going strong as a couple, as are Benji and Victor. But with the first day of school fast approaching, Victor is nervous to finally come out to the rest of the world, as he knows that the struggles of navigating his high school social life will become even more difficult when he does. All the while, his parents are now living separately and dealing with their son's coming out in two very different ways. It was so refreshing coming into this season with a more convicted Victor who is sticking up for himself and his sexuality. The first season saw a boy who was a bit lost, searching for who he was and grappling with his inner turmoil, whereas now we get a young man who is, although still traversing this new gay world that he was never able to before, and sometimes failing at it, is a much stronger version of himself who has now certainly found his voice. Cimino once again completely pulls it off. He is such a charming young actor who is unwavering in his performance, and you can completely see him coming into his own on screen right along with the character he is playing. The rest of the cast, just as they were in the last season, are unbelievably good. They bring such range and gravitas to these characters and have truly created an ensemble worth rooting for. They also elevate some of the material here that, I'm not gonna lie, was a tad cringy at times, especially when they were trying to be overly hip or witty. Luckily, as the season progresses, that seemed to filter itself out for the most part. Once again, the standout for me is Anna Ortiz as Victor's mother, Isabella. The underrated actress was one of my favorite parts of Ugly Betty, and she continues that streak in Love, Victor. Ortiz brings such compassion and empathy to her role, and even when Isabella's actions are frustrating, especially as she refuses to accept Victor's coming out, you always can reach her character on an emotional level and reason with why she is acting the way she is. Ortiz does most of the heavy lifting here as well when it comes to this season's most emotional and powerful scenes, and seeing her journey of acceptance has been one of the show's biggest crowning achievements. They have also brought in a new character to join the lead ensemble named Rahim, played gloriously by Anthony Keyvan, who is in much the same place as Victor was last season and comes to him for guidance and support. I love this new character of Rahim because he shows the more flamboyant side of a gay character, while for the most part not being over the top or in your face about it. His character's inclusion shows us even more representation in the series, that every LGBTQ+ person is not the same or fit in the same bubble. There is a vast spectrum of who you can be. And his added strife of being Muslim with first-generation immigrant parents adds a whole new side to the coming out experience that is rarely explored in television. Though I wish they had delved deeper into that story because there really is so much great material there. Love, Victor unfortunately does some disservice to its characters this season, which I will further talk about in my spoiler review on June 11th. But one of the biggest glaring issues here is the budding friendship built up in season 1 between Victor and Felix is completely put to the sidelines here for more couples drama. And that is such a shame because Cimino and Turpel have so much chemistry with each other, and the friendship between a straight male and a gay male was so tenderly observed in that first season. Although I am all about who's gonna get with who and the drama that unfolds with that, I appreciated that Love, Victor took the time to cultivate every relationship between its characters, and it doesn't do that as much in these 10 episodes. I think Love, Victor has had a bit of a hard time finding its voice now that its lead character has found his. This feels almost like an experimental season to see where a show that was all about one event in a person's life coming out can go after that event occurs. And although the writers falter here and there to give us just as engaging content as its first outing, they have still created a show with characters that I adore spending time with and who I care about deeply. These 10 episodes absolutely flew by, and with that cliffhanger of an ending, I am dying to see what happens in the 3rd season. Do we really have to wait a whole nother year for more? In Lost in the Episode, I rate each show in one of 4 different tiers. Must watch, watch if you like the genre that it exists in, watch if there is nothing else to watch, and skip it altogether. I make that decision from combining 2 different scores, one based on entertainment value, how bingeable or watchable a show is, and production quality, the caliber of the writing, acting, direction, etc. Love, Victor Season 2, just like the first, completely flew by, and I binged it in just 2 sittings. This is a show that I connect with because of its fantastic ensemble, and although it wasn't as enticing as the first, because our lead character has already gone through his journey of self-discovery, what happens after was nearly just as pleasing. So it gets a 92% for entertainment value. As for the production quality, I had a little more issues this time around with the show trying to be too hip for its own good, and the writing let some of my favorite characters down by either giving them the shaft or not knowing what to do with them. I still think this is a handsomely produced series with an incredible soundtrack. The writing is still able to mostly be lovingly and authentically observed, and when it is not, the performers are all able to elevate the material. So I will be giving that a score of 86%, for an overall score of 89%. And that means, by just barely, this is a show that you should watch if you like the YA dramedy genre. If you fell in love with the first season of Love, Victor, like me, I believe that you are going to be satisfied with this 2nd season and just be content in spending time with these wonderful characters. But I hope that the show continues to search for its voice, why it is so important, and most of all, never play it safe. Thank you so much for watching Lost in the Episode. We will see you soon.